1017 FM 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, guests on KEEL, are heard on the Jack Spring Electric KEEL Newsmaker Hotline. Mr. Mike Moncla is the president of the Louisiana Oil and Gas Association. Mr. Mike, welcome back to KEEL. Thank you for taking time for us.
Sure, thanks for having me.
So let's start here, sort of paint with a broad brush. What is your assessment of the current state of American energy?
Well, I think this Russian invasion in Ukraine has exacerbated a problem that already existed. The previous administration was one that was all about energy independence, and so much so that the price of oil before the election was $37. Gas was in the $2 range, maybe even like $1.70. And since the election, and before the invasion, we had $97 oil and gasoline prices had tripled, and that was all before there was any talk of Russia invading Ukraine. So it's been an ongoing problem, but certainly these Russian moves have, exaggerated that problem for sure.
Erin and I talk all the time about there's the things you see, there's the things you don't see. You get to look behind the curtain. On top of all the things that the Biden administration has done publicly to hinder American energy production, what can you tell us about increased regulation or rules, or just what are they doing behind the scenes that we don't know about that are making American energy producers, that's making it more difficult on them?
Well, as you mentioned, the first thing he did when he got into office was, the Keystone Pipeline. Then he canceling that, and then the ban on drilling on federal lands, and then we had the lease sale. We finally got the courts to agree that we should have the lease sale. We have it. We go through it. We have companies come in and invest $200 million in leases offshore, and then some judge in D.C. decides that because we weren't or the previous way the government was counting methane, then that the sale should be canceled. So then they canceled the sale. So they've done a lot of things. Another thing is they have urged banks, financial institutions to not approve oil field loans. They don't want anyone investing in anything fossil fuel related. So there's a lot of investment dollars that used to go into the oil field that that they're not going that way anymore.
When you hear the White House press secretary Jen Psaki say the president is, quote, doing nothing to hamper U.S. oil and gas production, do you say hooey on that?
Yeah, I would say so. He's had his foot on our throats since he got into office.
What is the answer to this? I don't want to pay $4, $5 for gas. What needs to happen today, Mike?
I'm not sure there's much that anybody can do right now. It's so geopolitical. I would hope that this Russian-Ukraine crisis would go away in the coming months and things would go back to normal. The problem is, what is normal? This new normal is 3 times what we used to pay a year and a half ago. So, when you all you do is push green, and get away from affordable, abundant, and reliable energy such as gasoline or even natural gas, this is what happens, and the public just doesn't really understand, how oil and gas works, and it doesn't understand that when you have an electric vehicle in Louisiana and in many other states, it's being charged by natural gas. It's not Ben Franklin sending down a electrical current from a lightning bolt to hit your car and make it run.
Mr. Mike, let me paint with a broad brush once again. It's sort of not a philosophical question, but I just want to get your thought on it because it's something else we've talked about numerous times here on KEEL. Why would the President of the United States purposely dismantle his own nation's energy infrastructure when there's nothing in place to take its place?
Yeah, that's beyond me. I think it's just I hate to use the word stupidity or ignorance. It's just a negative. It's just they're just not educated on the subject, and they get all of their information from the left wing, far left, green, folks, and that's what they want. That is their agenda, to get rid of fossil fuels.
Is it beyond your comprehension? I don't mean that to challenge your intellect. You'll see what I mean, because it's not beyond mine that they're doing this on purpose, that they don't want you to pay less, that the purpose of this, if it inflicts pain on the average American, and it is, that's just the cost of doing their business.
Well, look, they hate oil and gas companies. I mean, period. They always have. And so they're trying to go green. So if oil and gas is more expensive, then that helps push their narrative to get away from oil and gas. So, the more expensive the public has to pay on the pump, the more the bad guy is the oil company. And we got to go green, and we got to go to windmills and solar and all that other stuff. And look, we are not against wind and solar. It's going to take all kinds of energy for our world to continue. You remember in the 70s, oil and gas was going to end. And what has happened is the world grew in population from, 4.5, 5 billion to 7 billion. Well, in 30 years, the world is going to grow to 10 billion. And we're going to continue to need wind, solar, and fossil fuels, all of the above, to provide energy to our world. And the thing that's great about the fossil fuel side of it is, as I said, affordable, it is reliable, and it's abundant. It's out there.
Mr. Mike, what do you say to people who say the oil companies are all in on the deal, they're part of the fix, that they're making more money than ever, and that the American people are being gouged by them? How do you respond to that kind of charge?
Well, I can say that oil, and it's a commodity, and so if someone was to say that, I would say that they've only been making profits for the last year and a half. I mean, the price of oil was $37 the day before the election. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is not a winning solution for any oil company. I mean, there were, over the last 7 years, look, my family business is in the workover rig business in Louisiana. We've all been trying to keep our doors open for 7 years. It has not been good times for oil and gas.
Pardon me.
It's only started to be good since the commodity price started increasing under this administration.
So you kind of tend to agree with me, or not necessarily me, the people who say, yeah, the oil and companies, oil and gas, they are making more money than ever, and this is good for them.
Well, they'll make more money as commodity prices go up, because they get paid for what the product they sell. But I mean, they haven't been making money. They didn't make much money under President Trump. I'll tell you that. And hey, I'm a Trump fan, but the oil and gas industry struggled under Trump.
Mike, one more thing. You're the guy when you sit down to Sunday dinner with grandma and your parents and relatives, and they look at you and they say, Mike, you're the expert in the room. How high are prices going to get? What is Mike Moncla of Louisiana Oil and Gas telling folks today? What is your prediction of how bad this is going to get?
I have been asked that question all week.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had that crystal ball. I keep thinking in my head that this Russian conflict is not going to be long lasting. I kept thinking, I mean, when the United States went into Iraq, I think we took down the statue in 36 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kept thinking that Russia would be able to take down Ukraine fast, and this thing would just kind of go away, and it would be short-lived. And
$5 a gallon?
I don't know. I hope not. Look, the oil and gas companies, we are proud to provide the cheapest liquid on earth. And gasoline has been that forever. And, even if it gets to $5 a gallon, it's pretty close to milk. Okay? So we provide a very affordable product. We like it to be way below it is right now, but it is to a commodity.
I'm lactose intolerant. I don't use milk.
Mr. Mike, one last question. If the oil companies
don't fill your car with Visine either.
if the oil companies weren't making any money under Trump because the price per barrel was low, and right now at $130, $35, $40 a barrel, the American people are getting killed, what would be in your mind a fair price for the oil companies and the American people? And you can frame it in the price per barrel, or you can frame it in the price per gallon.
Well, there's something you probably need to understand about that price, okay? A huge percent of oil companies use what is called a hedge. And they have oil hedged for 3 years, 2 years, whatever their hedge may be. A lot of these companies at $37, when it started going up, they hedged at $53 or $54. So just because you see a price of $130 doesn't mean the oil companies are making that. A lot of companies are stuck still making $55, and anything over that, they have to pay the hedge company. Now, the reverse of that is if the price of oil goes below their hedge, then that hedge company pays them the difference. So it is not as easy as advertised as you say it. There's a lot involved in the price of oil.
Mr. Mike Moncla, President, Louisiana Oil and Gas Association. A pleasure, sir. Thank you for your time, and good luck in the near and long-distant future.
Thank you. You have a great day.
101.7 FM 17.